It's a lot of things to think about if you're AVULUS and to play against. I don't envy them.
For sure. And it wouldn't be a game without a pause at the very beginning. What do you reckon about the position 4 Night Stalker that's come out here? Zayats is playing it just backline disruptor, you reckon? And they wanted a melee to pair together with this Darkseer?
I mean, you know, I've at the start when people started picking this position for Night Stalker, it was weird to me. Not in a sense like I played position 4 Night Stalker back in 2016, but it's just that people built him like a core. They would still buy items that are kind of core-ish, right? And I have to say I've gotten used to it now, right? I understand that the hero is not as strong as he was pre-patch, but it's, in my mind, it's still extremely powerful, and its job doesn't really have to be just to give vision and to find the backline. I mean, if things go well for him, which can happen in Darkseer double melee lanes, you never know. I could see him just getting away with this game basically.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Zayats, I mentioned his Reki previously. Like, he got absolutely out of control. I think he was up against double slow or something like that against a Medusa. So he was able to not only go the Diffusal Blade on the Reki, but then get farmed enough to build that into a Disperser. So not only were you able to get out of the slows, but also the Gorgon's Grasp, and he was really, really effective all throughout the game. So I'm expecting to see a similar sort of thing. He's already leveled up the Hunter in the Night as well. No, never mind. He's put the Void, so he's gone the Night Rain, so he's got that extra talent point that you just start with. But it should still give him the extra movement speed that he needs to do exactly what I was talking about, right? Like, look at the lines being drawn on the map by Darkseer at the moment, basically saying we need to get in behind, we need to make sure that we're getting off to a good start. And is Niku gonna pop their smoke?
Not yet. Not yet. That was close though. Both
Smiling
him
Knife's
and
gonna be a little
Mobe.
careful.
Is Ursa really a viable kill? I'm looking at this Navi junior line. Maybe they can wait for the nighttime, but Ursa is a hard kill. Fast hero, has Earthshock if he needs it, and it won't get him.
But yeah, right. Like, as soon as it turns to nighttime, we'll see Zayats' movement speed really pick up. And what's a Warlock going to do to be able to stop you from pulling? He's moving it. Well, he's in the river. 323, let's say 325 movement speed.
You didn't want to say the exact number. It is a dumb number. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan when they changed in the game that you have all of these weird numbers. I liked it when it was almost always rounded out, right? But
well, this one should round, right? He had 295, and then he gets an extra 10%. So 10% of 295 is 29.5. Surely that rounds up.
No, your math is obviously wrong because it says here 394. So sorry, 324. But
well.
we'll see. Anyways, though, I am very curious to how AVULUS is going to be playing this lane. I feel like Zayat is going to be wanting to get smacked by Seneko, and then Seneko is not going to be wanting to really fight him and wanting to make sure that the Darkseer is the one who gets all of the hate. But overall, the start of this lane, perfect for Navi Jr.
Yeah, for sure. And the one, I guess, saving point for AVULUS is that you're playing with a Warlock, right, against the Darkseer. So when Navi Jr. eventually want to start pushing out and like diving under the tower at potentially like level 2, level 3, trying to get kills in that way, you can just level up the Fatal Bonds and just spam it in the lane. Make sure that that lane is consistently pushing out, protect your Lotus Pool a little bit as well. That feels quite good, but especially with that Shadow Word being leveled up, Zayats just says thank you very much and yoinks away the creep wave.
He literally doesn't care. Seneko is attacking him, and he does not care. Shrugs it off like it's nothing, really. That is the bummer, and this is the advantage that they got by making sure that that first wave did go into the tower. So Navi Jr. are very, very happy, and this is what I think this is what Navi Jr. in the past really did lack. I mean, Daze was a pretty good player, but the thing is that they lacked experience on their side. They lacked somebody to get a new perspective because they pretty much had 5 players who learned Dota together. So you needed somebody from the outside, and Zayats has been an amazing addition.
Yeah, for sure. I'm even able to build up a few stacks as well, and I think PMA is going to be A-okay. Having a look at some of these other ones as well, other lanes. Riddy's doing a pretty decent job of harassing Jibe out here. Ringmaster, of course, one of the most annoying supports. And actually, speaking of Riddy's, should be just fine.
I'm looking at this Ringmaster now for the past 10, 15 days. I've been casting a lot of Ringmaster. In the right hands, it just looks ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
But sometimes I've seen people just make mistakes, and a lot of teams don't even want to pick him up, right? But the players that have invested into playing him a lot when he came out are really showing it in the competitive environment.
Mm-hmm. And Science is just doing everything right up on this top side. He's only level 1 at the moment, but it means his Darkseer is level 3. Means he was able to go and secure this Lotus Pool for himself. He's just basically got every single creep possible on the Darkseer, and Zayats is making sure that the pulls aren't happening as well. So this is where that Fatal Bond spam is really going to start to come out, because that spells danger if you're getting dived underneath the tower at this early stage.
I think the oh no, scratch that. Anyways, the mid lane, we haven't talked about that too much, right? Generally, the Shaker should do well versus most, if not all, melee heroes. But Tiny is holding his own. How do you feel like this one should have went? Do you think this is within expectations, or should somebody have gotten a bit more?
I think maybe Mobe could have got a little bit more, especially since he's a Tiny spammer himself, so he'll know like the strengths and the weaknesses of the lane. And yes, you do have the ability to harass the Tiny, but you also don't have that huge attack damage advantage against like you do against most other heroes, right? It's a freaking Tiny. He's going to be able to secure everything. He's going to be able to get a bunch of his own denies. He's actually got 7 relative to the 8 on Mobe at this point. So I think Niku's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, for sure. Smiling Knight gonna be healed up by the Warlock. This is what we talked about. Ursa likes to have the healers. He can play aggressive, but this time around playing aggressive doesn't really slow down the Darkseer. And I feel like the Darkseer having a good lane is the single most important thing for Navi Jr. Even for AVULUS, it was important to keep him down, and they didn't manage to do it.
Nope. I think they've just resigned themselves to the fact that, look, if you're not going to pick a kill lane for this this Ursa to be able to actually secure kills on Darkseer and slow him down or get rid of the Ion Shell, you just got to be content with breaking even. And I guess he's kind of done that, right? Once he finishes farming this wave, they'll be basically neck and neck on net worth, so I think Smiling Knight's going to be relatively okay with that.
Yeah, makes sense. PMA, getting some stacks off. Of course, with the Darkseer, easy to farm them. We still haven't seen a single kill. Maybe we're going to be seeing one in the mid lane, and yeah, they do get Mobe low enough, but even with the Blood Grenade, it's not going to be good enough to get the kill, so Mobe will survive, and of course, Saneko is there to assist him, heal him up a bit. Also, like the Zayats is being given a little bit of priority in the top lane to get some nice experience going his way.
It's all because of the work that he's already done, though, right? Like, he made a bunch of stacks for PMA to be able to take, which he's taking right now. So, good understanding of the early phases. That's what you really love to see with these young teams, right? Is a lot of the stuff that goes on in the first, like, let's say 12 minutes of the game is the same across the board. So, if you can get that right, then you work on the later stuff, right? The cohesion, the level-headedness to be able to make the right plays.
He survived. Now he turns around, connects there onto Desire, bushwhack off the Mark Reed. This is just waiting to heal up underneath the tower. Desire needs to be careful. He's a very squishy squirrel. And Zibe picks up one of the one of the impalement tars there for himself. It still does hurt, even on a Tidehunter.
Yeah. For sure. Wasn't close enough to the old Kraken shell, the blubber threshold to be able to instantly remove it, but oh well.
You're gonna have to predict to me where we're gonna see a first blood, because it doesn't seem like anybody is too keen on dying at this moment.
I'm gonna say maybe 10.5 minutes is when we're expected to see it, because Nightstalker doesn't want to do anything at this stage, daytime. Doesn't look like anyone's set to try and invade any sort of wisdom runes, and everyone else is pretty tanky across the board. So maybe it'll go somewhere different if they do get a lucky 8-minute power rune, but other than that, I'm expecting it to still stay pretty stagnant for at least this point in time.
Who does this
maybe
favor,
now, Mobe.
Well, let's see if that's gonna happen. Echo will be used on Niku. Bushwhack as well. They don't pull him into the tower, but he doesn't have any more one charges. Name the beast, pulling them away. Pushing them away, rather. Avalanche also keep them at bay. And if Ridis doesn't take any more damage, should be okay
Oh,
for
Slugger.
Niku to get closer. It is gonna be way too far away for them to get the connection. 75 HP for a Tiny. It's quite low. PMA in a little bit of trouble. Smiling Knight gets him low. 2 cores right now, barely coming out alive. That does put Ursa in an uncomfortable spot.
And then both teams are going to have a chance to be able to strategize because Got the Juice does not have the connection to the game. He's DC'd underneath his own tier 1 tower. Doubt he would have been able to TP anyway to be able to help with this one. You really can't let a Tide Hunter just get a little bit too far out of control. Otherwise, you know, you just become this unkillable beast. You get a bunch of those early aura items, and then not to the same extent of something like a Broodmother, but it does kind of... You're forced to bring at least 3 heroes to kill him, and I don't think they want to let that happen.
How is Smiling Knight supposed to strategize this? He's gonna be surrounded by 4 heroes, doesn't have an Earthshock, has a Healing Lotus and an ulti, but I wouldn't want to be in this position.
I guess they've got Avatos. Sorry, I didn't quite see that on Niku. I thought it was still on cooldown, so yeah, maybe he just needs to make sure that he's timing it correctly. Save the toss, just in case he's able to pop that in rage. We shall see, though. Worth going for the kill, I suppose.
Tell me, is he dying or no? Quick
yes.
prediction. Okay, Smiling Knight needs to get away. Has 17, 18 one charges. Healing Lotus as well. We'll get the wand first, and they let him go up. Okay. My analyst will get his prediction right later on, of course.
Eventually.
Yeah. I guess
the
your
prediction
of 10.5 will be correct, unless Zibe does connect here on Got the Juice.
Ravage.
Going through the portal. Yeah, nice dodge there, hunted the trees, Got the Juice running away. There is a Shaker coming from the other side as well. They really want to kill him. I mean, it's pretty much a given now that he's gonna die. But the question is how fast can they take him out, and how many spells will they use? No big ones. Oh, got blocked in. I don't think I've ever seen that he cannot move an inch, and Zibe gets himself a first blood.
Very, very nicely done. It's actually pretty big as well. Like, that was the Black Grimoire charge that I was wanting for Seneko. So now he's got 2. It's going to give him an extra 500 XP towards his level 6. So he'll probably be like level 5.5 if he levels it up. So just getting that little bit closer. Hasn't been able to drop it at that 7.5 minute mark, like I was saying, but should absolutely have it there for the 10-minute siege creep to be able to play around with. And I would imagine that Shibe is going to be holding his Ravage as well for whichever tower they eventually want to start to converge onto on AVULUS.
We'll see which one that is going to be. Lucky for them, they did save the Ravage, so most definitely still have the firepower to take on even a full lineup of Navi Jr. Nighttime, though, is coming, right? So even when you do get that golem, if it is nighttime, it is going to be a little bit tougher to utilize properly. How do you feel the next 5 minutes of the game will go? Who's going to be on the aggressive more?
Really hard to say, to be honest, right? Like, oh, hold on. They're going in here, but there's a mechanism coming out on the courier for PMA, so they just need to delay this long enough to potentially bait and turn this one around.
Zayat is running forward, actually, with a lot of
Got the Juice is here.
Fury swipe stacks on him, and Soneko is just gonna be taken out. He cannot get away from Zayat himself. He's gonna wait for the Darkseer to get the kill. Now looking towards the Ursa, the Enrage has already been popped, so Smiling Knight is in a lot of trouble. Shaker getting in, getting silenced up, surge forward. Zayat goes on top of Smiling Knight and just gives vision for Got the Juice to get the last hit. And once your ulti is done, the nighttime will remain still.
Very, very nice little play coming through there from Navi Jr. AVULUS kind of resigned themselves to their fate, sort of similar to Got the Juice previously when he lost that first blood. Because at least if this sort of thing is happening, you want to get something in exchange, right? And Shibe has done exactly that. He's going to be opening up this bottom side of the map, heavily reducing the amount of space that you have to be able to farm on, honestly, all of their cores. You can even call Night Stalker a pseudo core when he's got that Ion Shell coming through for him as well. So just to be able to give a little bit more safe space for Ursa in particular to be farming is going to be so vital. Because he's farming right next to a ward right now.
Both of the mid laners will have a Blink Dagger at a similar timing, but the thing is that a Tiny is so far ahead. I mean, Mobe kind of forced to rush it. And how much does this annoy you as a shaker. That I guess you're gonna get the blink at a decent timing, but you won't have any extra items to play with.
That's the thing that I was talking about, right? Like really wanting at the very end of the draft that hero that is always going to be active. And until you've got, you know, Blink Dagger, Aghanims, Power Treads, you don't have that as a as an Earthshaker. Whereas he might even just echo this camp though on Mobe. Yes, he does. He echoed the entire ancient stack, so he's not going to be getting super active, but it will mean that he's got that item to be able to at least start to make plays with. But I mean, without the Echo Slam, how effective is that Blink Dagger going to be?
We'll find out. We'll find out in the next 2 minutes or so. They do see him, though. He's not even gonna get that delivered golem being dropped. Not gonna be saving Mobe's life. And we talked about the golem being needed for a push. Now, it is just gonna be dropped for nothing. You do lose 2 heroes. Zibe using the Ravage as well. Bushwhack connecting onto 3 of them. And this turnaround could be huge. Wheel of Wonder keeping Zibe away. And now they're looking towards Desire. Very squishy heroes. So Neko's golem still alive. Barely, though. And Tiny will get himself away. Still, a pretty nice victory for Navi Jr.
Yes, indeed, and I mean, that golem actually did a whole lot of damage, Niku even being able to get an amp damage as well, and this is what I was talking about, just frequent aggression is going to be able to come out. You know that, well, you don't know that there's no Echo Slam, but you're 100% sure there's no Ravage or Chaotic Offering, so you would have to imagine that they're priming themselves for some sort of play in an aggressive sense quite soon.
Probably want to continue going to that mid lane, right? The tower is relatively low. If you get a kill around the lane once again, you can most definitely open up the map.
Nico maybe just wants to get the bounty rune, but perhaps he just wants to immediately converge with the rest of his team now that Riddies has the arcane boots coming out to him on the courier. It's like he's going to be fighting fit once this one comes through, so is the smoke going to be coming, or are they just going to straight up walk into that mid lane? You would have to imagine they're feeling confident enough to just walk. I'm honestly a little surprised that we're not seeing Got the Juice get a little bit more active with his team. Maybe just wants to finish up that Maelstrom first, but this was an opportunity to take that objective fairly easily, and they've just let it slip.
I feel like a lot of the DKs I watched have just fallen off. So I can't say. I'm not sure how you're supposed to play this hero, but a lot of the DKs that just focused on pushing towers even from the carry role, I feel like fell flat. So maybe this is the way to utilize it.
It's a little deep here.
Gonna try to escape. He does have Desire to cover for him. Impalement Arts will connect, and Night Stalker is here with the extra vision. They will be finding Desire. That's gonna be a nice kill with a toss back. Almost no chances for him to get out. Tame the Beast connects. A very long Tame the Beast at that. With Dark Extension going strong, they do want Zibe as well. Without the Ravage, he is not a threat, but also hard to kill.
I was about to say, is he going to go for this Wisdom Rune area, but it's being covered by Mobe at this point. Realizes that he is a little bit behind. And yeah, poor Seneko indeed. There's nothing that you could do at this point. Even Jibe TPing in isn't going to accomplish much of anything, and yeah, can't give that really solid start over to PMA. Already has the Guardian Greaves as well to be able to play around with, so nice way to be able to at least purge off one of those Fatal Bonds.
Really can make a difference.
Yeah. Niku's just getting more and more aggressive. That ward that Zayat's placed down 4 minutes ago still has vision of Smiling Knight, but looks like he'll be able to get away just in time.
He had a vision of his own there, so he knew that they were coming. Lucky for him. If there was no ward there, probably he wouldn't have been farming there anyways, but you know, sometimes you feel secure because you just saw them in the mid lane and then bam, die. Speaking of, though, the spells are back for AVULUS, so now they do have the tools to fight if they want to.
Yep, got a pipe, I believe, coming out for Jibe as well. Will it be able to reach him in time, though?
Oh, he just used the Ravage. So they do get the Tormentor for Desire, and that is a good shard buffed in the C patch as well. However, you lose the Tide, you lose the Ravage, you lose the mid lane tower. That shard is just not worth it.
No, it's definitely not, and I mean, it's a small mistake by Jibe as well, because he had his magic wand in his backpack and a healing salve in his inventory, so he would have actually had a, you know, bunch of extra stats as well as the heal component that maybe would have let him live long enough to get off another anchor smash, pop the pipe, and get the team joining in. But as we saw, that was not the case.
We're going to be looking towards Desire here as well. Vacuuming in, Void being used. They will force out the rotation on the Tidehunter, and seems to be enough for Navi Junior, and Tiny's rotating as well. We might be seeing a fight here in the top lane.
Looks like they're feeling pretty good at this point in time to be able to go. And I mean, now that it's daytime though, Ravage or no, I'm still feeling like they might want to go. And yeah, there we go. Seneko smokes up Obey, although they're going to walk into Niku here and they see him.
Avalanche, toss in place. Tame the Beast being used as well. He's very low. Tree toss there. He's being healed up by the Warlock. Might survive because Dark Ascension's Eyes doesn't want to allow it. One Void will be enough, but Blink Out allows him to live. Ursa also TPing in just for the little bit of extra threat.
Wonder if they're even going to put a courier on top of that high ground cliff inside of the Dire jungle, because, I mean, you've already got vision advantage off the back of Night Stalker, and, well, now as well, you've got a ward there, a ward still up to the north side, about to expire, but you've just had a full understanding of exactly where AVULUS are at all stages. Tiny lives through the first main echo of the game.
So we'll be getting the boomerang onto him as well, but not even close there for AVULUS.
Nope. Just 1 point in Escape Act is so clutch, right? I'm honestly a little surprised we don't see more people pick it up at level 4. I feel like it has a ton of value. Yes, the second point in either Tame the Beasts or Impalement Arts is also really good, but I can honestly count on more than 2 hands the number of times that I've seen, you know, a gank that probably could have been avoided if you just had that 2 seconds of safety.
You know, people are greedy. They don't want to be saving people. Remember when Dazzle was in the meta just a couple of days ago before the C patch? That almost nobody went for the Grave early on. I only saw Saberlight do it a couple of games on the offlane. Everybody else was being greedy. That's how you play Dota nowadays.
That's why he's Saber Chad, bro. That's why he's Saber Chad. Saving your boys. I'm not asking for it maxed out. 1 point. It's so value. I feel the same way about Enfeeble as well on Bane.
That is a... you can hear now from Danog's words that he is an old support player. Somebody who has played support 10 years in the past, maybe even before that. Because these new guys, they don't think like that, but...
Reese knows what's going on. Could use that Impalement Arts.
Ursa getting the Roche very low, and they're unsure if they want to fight this. Into a Ravage, into a Golem, you probably can't just run in, so they just will be going into the hands of the Ursa.
Honestly, a little surprised that they didn't choose to take that. I mean, you knew that they didn't have Echo Slam, and that's the real damage component that you're worrying about. You know, Ursa needs to make a decision about whether to finish Roshan or whether to fight. He's obviously a huge damage source at this stage, but maybe just a little bit of a missed opportunity, considering you do have Guardian Greaves, Veil, great place to be able to use the Wall of Replica around the Roche Pit as well. So
I feel like the thing that dissuaded them was no Dark Ascension. I think that's where they drew the line. Okay, let's just not do it. Yeah.
Even PMA walking up to that top creep wave to use the Guardian Greaves on it, just to get that little bit of extra attention. You know, you can see that Seneko nearly dying actually to a creep wave. You can see that they're probably wanting to make something happen on this bottom side of the map on AVULUS, right? They've got the Blink Dagger on the Ursa. You've got 4 minutes left on the Aegis. They want to try and take this tower if they can. Especially, they would have seen the Elder Dragon form be popped, so maybe it's just the waiting game now. Wait for it to expire. Yes, you're going to be going up. Oh, never mind.
Kill him. Escape Act is available. Dark Ascension being used. Double silence.
Great ult.
Avalanche, and look at that Wheel of Wonder. Mobe will be taking so much damage. Ursa with him as well. Zayat will be finding the supports. Golem will be dropped. Zibe needs a great position to use a good Ravage, but the thing is that the fight is split. He will be using it now only defensively, it seems, as the Ursa is running away. You've lost the Aegis, you lost another core as well, and Zayat is just giving perfect vision over these supports. The question is, can a Navi Junior chase? Do they even want to?
I mean, I'm sure they would if they got a super easy one. They've still got that Tiny to be able to play around with, but again, they're going to be satisfied. No Rock, no Ravage, no Echo Slam, got rid of the Aegis. Like, what more could you possibly want? And this net worth lead is continuing to grow off the back of some really solid plays coming through from Niku, but more importantly from Riddies. He was the MVP of that last team fight, right? The Escape Act to be able to save the Dragon Knight from getting jumped onto, and then the perfect Wheel of Wonder just to lock 2 people in place on the escape.
He is doing a great job, really. And at some point, AVULUS are going to have to think about how to address him. The problem is, yeah, they do have some blinking heroes, but I don't think they necessarily have good backline heroes. It has to be some weird move from an Ursa to find an angle, and it's just not super easy to do.
I agree entirely. Like, this is what makes that Night Stalker hero so good, is that you can get onto the backline so easily. Now he's got Blink Dagger as well on Zayat, so it just becomes easier and easier for them to be able to find the right target and quickly burst him down. The combination of Ion Shell Night Stalker plus Crippling Fear plus Void plus Tiny Blink Avatos combo, anyone dies.
Well, now they have nighttime. They don't even have to be relying on that Dark Ascension. They saw the Warlock for a second. He is sending his courier there, but seeing the Ursa is much more important. Smiling Knight, no BKB just yet. And he's not getting out of that silence. There's really no way to survive this three-man rotation, especially with help of those Ion Shells as well.
Didn't even move his courier, Seneko. Right on top of an Observer Ward. Very, very surprising considering how Smiling Knight just got jumped. And this is what I was talking about with that lack of cohesion that I feel is going on here. Could probably say the same about Zayats, but the rest of the team are confident that they're going to be able to back him up here with Niku. Able to just give that little bit of extra damage that he needs to potentially secure things.
Oh, that was so nicely done. You think you're safe with the sharpshooter up the hill, and then suddenly a Night Stalker is flying towards you. Beautiful spell usage from the Tiny overall, considering he didn't have a blink.
I gotta ask this from you, Harry, because I don't know the answer. When is Seneko going to use the Black Grimoire? Because I feel like Warlock's strong point is that early period around, you know, your level 6, level 7, and he's got 3 charges on it at level nearly 10, and it's just giving him 0 value at this point.
I don't know. I don't know, because I've seen people use it for level 6 and use it for level 10 in games that are going a little bit worse. And he hasn't done either, so I can't say that I've been in this situation that I see him right now. I guess when he gets bored, right, gives up on his teammates, just goes back to the base, goes for a nice read. That's the so to relax, not to accelerate his game at all.
Because it's not that much stronger than it used to be, right? Like, it gets relatively weaker the later it goes on. It's just a flat 250 XP, which, you know, if he used it now, he's not even going to get a full level. So maybe you might think that he's going to wait for level 12, but even that isn't a huge power spike for a Warlock.
Nope.
Cooldown stays the same.
It's it's our best bet right now, I think, is level 12, right? So let's go with level 12. We're gonna agree on that, I guess.
We're talking about BKBs previously as well, and Got the Juice has one, and that's what gives him the confidence to be able to stand. Not necessarily alone. Riddy's once again in really good position on these backlines, and he's even got a Yule Scepter. So not just for himself, but if he is able to get in there with the Tumbler's Toy, with his Carnival, what is it, Carney Classics, just to get that extra little bit of a hop in there, you might even be able to disrupt an Ursa in the middle of these team fights when he's got that Enrage popped.
We'll see if he'll be able to do it, but at the moment, this game is looking very hard for AVULUS. So I didn't want to throw you under the bus this much, but what's the play? Like, what do you even do as AVULUS right now? I mean, maybe they can pick off Ridis, fine, but even that's a maybe.
To me, I'm just thinking of, like, what heroes can actually die. And to me, that's probably Night Stalker is the one that you're wanting to be focusing on. But Zayats isn't afraid at all. He's just diving in onto the enemy mid laner, and they're going to get a pretty easy kill as well. Looking for more as Niku with his haste rune, but won't be able to find anyone just yet.
Just the 2 supports killing him. It's just so easy for them to ward right now. I wouldn't even be surprised if Navi Jr. buy an early gem. That is how much in control they are.
Yeah. Both them and Capybaras did that in the first round of the upper bracket, so I'm a little surprised as well that we're not seeing just a little bit more proactiveness. I guess Smiling Knight might just be waiting for that BKB to come up, and they did take the Tormentor really soon after it was available, so maybe even hoping to get lucky with another incredibly solid Aghanim Shard. Like, Tide's already got it, Hoodwink's already got it. So, honestly, Shaker having it wouldn't be the worst.
least Ursa has his BKB, right? And that can change things. Finally, the Crippling Fury is not going to be that big of an issue. You have a 4-staff on the Warlocks, so some ways to keep your heroes safe at least.
Debating with Got the Juice in this mid lane. Oh, there's that gem you were talking about, and well, nice use of the crippling.
Get outplayed, Zibe. They might even toss him back. They don't have the Crippling Fury, that would be a bit too dangerous.
TP actually coming out from Smiling Knight here. If they look, they can see that he doesn't have any TP in his inventory, so might give them an idea to be able to just keep pushing down that mid lane, or they know that he's isolated, no way to escape, and that's why Nico's just running in headfirst.
Like a madman, the tree toss will be missing. Smiling Knight will be
Found
found
him.
here. That's a 9-second
BKB.
BKB out of the way. 8 being used. Desire wants to go through the defender's gate. Should be successful. Impalement Arts off the mark. In the end, it's still a victory. No BKB.
Yep. Your position 1 BKB for your position 4 ulti, you take that every day of the week, and he's going to even use it to its fullest potential, right? Go around any sort of cliffs that might be available, just so he can use that Gem of True Sight to get a couple of free D wards off. And what this has also done is it makes Ursa feel a whole lot less confident about taking this Tormentor. So we were talking about how important it's going to be for them to just continuously build those up on the Ursa would be the absolute ideal, but Earthshaker, Warlock still yet to get their Aghanim shards, and well, they're probably going to get it taken away from them if Na'Vi move quickly enough, but you can see from AVULUS, they're not willing to sit back and let that happen.
Yeah, we'll have some of their big items, big ultis, BKB now on the Shaker as well. The support kill duo is going for it, but they will find the Tiny on the other side. Oh, vacuum wall onto the 4 of them. Avatos combo. Nico turns around with his BKB. Mobe has to pop his just to live. The MA will be targeted by Smiling Knight, but he doesn't have that nullifier just yet. But they do have an 8-toss. Sticks at this point will not help you live. So Neko doing a good job keeping them at bay, but now the Ursa is low as well. Niku just fighting them on his own, waiting for the Dragonite to join in. Zibe with a TP out will be surviving, but still another victory for Navi Jr.
That one was a bit better, right? Like, you have the Warlock hiding 2 people off to the side, and it's a pretty perfect Ravage as well, but the follow-up just isn't there, you know? Earthshaker forced to, again, use a pretty useless BKB. It's down to 8 seconds now on him, as well as Ursa's down to... Oh, he didn't use it another time, but that's just because he died. So 1, 3, and 0 on an Ursa 27 minutes into the game is not the position that you want to be in.
That's a pretty bad one. The second Roche is kind of your timing when you should be overtaking the game, crushing everybody. Yep. But I don't know if they can even contest it once it's up, and it is going to be up soon.
It is right now. That bug. It's so it's so fun to see the old observer bug with Roche.
See? They don't want to go into it just yet. I mean, maybe wait for nighttime, maybe kill Zibe first.
Can they though? I feel like he's probably the one that they are going to have a tough time killing. It's just going to take far too long. It's going to now enable the rest of the team to be able to get there. Don't have any vision up on this top side, so they don't know that Smiling Knight is still hanging around this area, and he might actually go and take the Tormentor on his own.
Well, that Ursa is pretty good at. And his armor from the Tide, and yeah, he's going to be able to do it. Now, let's see who's going to be getting lucky. Seneko, not the best one, not the worst shard either, so still fine.
Don't think I've seen him channel Upheaval this game so far. He's just always priority number 1, it seems. Zayat's getting on top of him at every opportunity.
Desire is lucky to be alive, but Roche, however, he cannot move and get lucky. You're always going to know where he is. Bottom lane now, 28 minutes into the game. Mobe running around, just trying to get scraps of farm. Are you going for an Axe now on the Shaker, or are we going to be seeing something like a Kayasha coming out from it?
I probably just still want the Ags. Hold on, Ready sees him? Okay. Just ducked into safety for a brief moment, but Niku, he doesn't have a blink dagger just yet.
Pop it, Mobe, do it!
Nope.
Okay, then you're gonna die. That's just how it goes.
At least he dies on that side of the map, right? Like,
True.
They can't immediately take an objective afterwards, as What's going on here? Zayats, he sees potentially the Ursa, who's forced to use another PKB.
Okay. I mean, the lanes are being shoved in. At least with these BKB force outs, kills and whatnot, they can't go high ground necessarily on Navi Jr. But can they at least control the lanes now?
I don't know. I feel like they can probably just go mid, right? Like, Dark Ascension was popped, sure. They might wait that 15 or so seconds until it's nighttime again, just for Zayats to be able to not feel worthless in a lot of these engagements. He's holding onto a lot of gold as well on the Night Stalker. Actually went away from the Ghost Scepter into a Sange that he's looking to try and build for himself. So, wonder if he is going to build, you know, incredibly greedy for himself, or it's even you wouldn't Abyssal Blade on Zayats just to be able to prevent these BKB TPs away, would you?
I would, right? I'd get very annoyed. I get personally very annoyed when I'm watching games and then people are getting away with it. But, so I feel like if it was an SNY, if he already made the decision, that he would have queued it up already.
Yeah. I've got an idea of where Seneko is, and yeah, see you later. Or
Force staff? It's not going to be good enough. He's only put even his teammates in a very uncomfortable spot. Willow when they're being used. It might not have been on point for Desire, but it is still going to be a dead squirrel in the push to follow. AVULUS don't seem interested in fighting this at all.
I mean, the supports are already so poor, and you would hate to have to buy back again. He is still holding the Black Grimoire, Harry. What is he saving it for? He's level nearly 15.
At this point, I don't know. Maybe he's even forgotten about it. They do want the Tide Hunter, getting the toss in with the supports being dead.
Nice.
The BKB and the Echo Slam might be enough for this one. Got the juice. He still has the Aegis. So they will be bringing down the Tiny. Looking to work. He's got the juice, who's saving his BKB. Will die now with the Bushwhack being used.
They've got the
Golem, dropping it on not too much, keeping Mobe at bay. Beautiful usage of the silence there in the backlines. Mobe still wants to go forward, but they don't have the vision. They will be bringing down Zayas. That gem on the ground. A little bit too long of a push from Navi Jr. will get punished.
And there's a lot of creeps inside the base as well, nearly getting ready to hit tier 4 towers. Even that Roshan's banner keeping them perfectly healthy. So someone's going to need to get back pretty quickly, and they're not going to be able to follow up on this. So 2 buybacks for 2 kills on a core and a support. It's not amazing considering you traded your own for it. And basically the net worth situation is the exact same as previous. You see there the big difference though, right? A great Echo Slam coming out from Mobe and really showing that the damage potential is there. But this is the first time that's happened in 32 minutes, whereas we've seen Niku make play after play after play, and that was really his first slip-up.
I feel like Navi Jr. now are going to be thinking like, yeah, we don't care about the Tide, we only care about the Shakers. So it's probably going to be the Night Stalker focusing more on the, even more on the Shaker than he has been throughout the game. Because now you know that that is basically who's going to be turning the game if it does come down to it.
Harry, why does Snako have a Midas? It's 18-5, and he's got a Midas and an Ags queued up. The Ags, I understand.
He knows he's not winning this game in the next 10 minutes. He's winning it in the next 35 if it lasts that long. And I don't know.
Big if.
Yeah, a big if, especially because there's a big-ass dragon that is taking down your second laner Ags. They're going to be going for him, using the anchor toss on the Ursa. He's already lost so much HP, he's gone. What?
Just perfect combos by Reddy's there. Just back to back to back, hitting with the fear, hitting him with the stuns, hitting even a 3-man wall. And
now you can just go forward. The Echo Slam will be used, pretty much not doing anything. They're going to try to do some damage to Niku. Avalanche onto the 2 heroes. Mobe protected by his BKB, but he doesn't protect you from the physical damage.
Diamond of Fountain.
He is just going inside. Will be killing Soneko exactly there. Not really getting to use his Midas all that much, is he? Sending Zayats in with the escape pact, and that seems to be the only way that you kill one of Navi Jr.'s heroes if they get betrayed by their own teammates. That is a very clean game coming out from Navi Jr. Definitely something that we're gonna have to keep in mind as we get ourselves into game 2 AVULUS, of course, this time around on the Radiant side, and Navi Jr. Yeah, trying their luck on the Dire. Do you see any big differences between the sides overall, Danog?
Like Radiant versus Dire?
Yeah.
I actually haven't looked too in depth into it ever since they made the slight change to the medium camp near the Dire Tier 1 tower, top tower. Because that was an awful camp to have to play around with previously, but they've really opened it up a whole lot more. But I think regardless, like, hold on, Shibe going to be okay? I think he will. Maybe. Yeah. Is Desire going to be okay? So a lot of creeps following him. It's just so important to take safe lane towers just because of how many creep camps that removes from the farmable pool, let's say. Like, it legit takes, I think, 5 camps away from both sides. So it's good that there's not like that giga busted cliff ward to be able to play around with, particularly on the Radiant side anymore. But there's still some clever places that you can ward to give you some less easily dewardable vision. So I'd say Radiant probably is still slightly favored, but not as much as previous.
That makes sense. We are going to be seeing a little bit of a laning switch up. They are going to be sending a Beastmaster to the bottom lane, and Navi Junior, they saw this, so they're going to be swapping things around as well. From what it seems, do you think musical lanes are going to be happening, or will everybody just accept the current state of things?
I mean, it's so much easier to do, especially with the twin gates, right? Like previously,
Yep.
it was whoever uses their TP first loses because you're always going to be able to react to it. But I mean, PMA is still not going to like the fact that he's copped 2 mana burns from the Mind Stealer, and he had to use the 75 mana to use the twin gates. So he's coming into this lane not that healthy.
It happens. He's gonna have to wait for his career to bring out that region. But generally, does this help Zibe's case? Right, you're playing a Beastmaster into a Gyro and the Jakiro. I don't think it can get much worse than that. But then again, it's kind of bad for a Chen as well.
Yeah, I mean, certainly not going to be very easy with that flak cannon against all of the units that you've got. So when they're trying to make these early runs at you, there's really not too much that you can do to stop it. Honestly, even Jakiro, one of the better heroes as well, at just being able to do exactly what Riddies is doing right now. He's just 1v2ing them because of how strong that dual breath is. And it's really going to be interesting to see when AVULUS feel like they can be the ones to get active and make the play. Because if they wait too long, Riddies is going to be level 3, and then you're going to have a really good amount of scaling from dual breath. Like, it doubles in damage from level 1 to level 2. You're going to be dealing with liquid fire or liquid frost, and then if you wait for 4, you've got ice path to deal with as well. So there's really not too many weak points for this Jakiro in lane. Maybe level 2 is the most exploitable, but not with this Chen Beastmaster combo. I feel like they're even weaker.
See if they can make something happen. One lane that is definitely going to have a solid time is the Medusa lane. I doubt that Medusa is going to be annoyed in any way. I just hope that Riddies does make some stacks for the Sand King especially. He's going to be needing those, because that's one thing that you don't have now in the safe lane.
PMA?
Speaking about the Sand King, he did have a lot of wand charges, so that's going to allow him to live, but of course, or rather survive, because this is not a life. Maybe with a power shot off the mark. Blood Grenade and a couple more hits might still do the job. PMA, of course, with the Burrow Strike will be fine.
Oh, he was tempted to go for that win run underneath the underneath the tower, but will he just throw off a random power shot here, just trying to snipe it?
Why not?
Or time to do it is gone, I think.
Yep.
That healing salve has given him most of the value back, so still gets knocked off at the very end, but could have been a whole lot worse. But yeah, this lane is going really well for the Dusa, right? I think this was the main thing that you were trying to change around, and well, I'll have to wait and see how it's going to eventuate the rest of the game, because I feel like Got the Juice is going to be just A-okay with how things are going down on this bottom side. I wonder if that just means many, many more points in the Wild Axes, just so that you can even look to trade anything against this Gyrocopter, because the Call of the Wild Boars give a surprisingly high amount of XP when it dies, and I don't think you can be doing that particularly for this lane, who, you know, they've just got such strong potential to fight in the early stages.
So far, so good, pretty much for everybody on the map. The offlaners are not farming that well. The carries are farming pretty well, and of course, the mid lane is kind of even. I'd say that this time around, this is quite good for Mobe, right? Okay, there's gonna be a couple of CS advantage on the DK, but it really isn't that big of a deal.
It's not that big of a deal, especially considering how strongly the DK should be doing in this lane, right?
Yep.
So he's only... How far is he behind? Let's say 150? That's not too bad.
I don't even think that's... Yeah, that's... Your... Did you check or are you a genius?
No, I checked. I don't care about number of last hits. I care about net worth.
You should have lied. Like, what the hell are you doing? That would have made you sound even more awesome. And but again, very slow starts to the laning stage. It goes to show that we might be in the Western European qualifiers, but it definitely goes to show that these guys, a lot of them, they do come from Eastern European school of how to play the lanes. Pretty safe.
Pretty safe for sure. And you have to imagine though that it is going to pick up a lot earlier than what we saw last game, just because again, like the toolkits, particularly on AVULUS, really lend itself to just going as soon as you've got that level 6 on the Chen, for example. Then again, Navi Junior isn't a passive team either. You know, Tusk wants to be making frequent rotations. Gyrocopter wants to be using his incredibly high early damage to be able to, you know, win team fights off the back of just raw damage.
See how it goes. I'm thinking that if this Medusa gets a little bit deeper in the top lane, that the rotation from the Jakiro can most definitely take her life. I mean, you mentioned the power of the Tusk and the Jakiro together. If they would storm onto this Medusa, it could be problematic. The Wind Ranger is not the best hero to really cover for you.
Yeah, the one weakness is really that Riddies doesn't have a lot of mana to be able to play with, so if he TP'd up there, might be able to get off like one round of spells, but that would be about it. He's actually looking to maybe intercept Mobate on the way to securing the power rune. So nicely done by him to just put himself in harm's way, making sure that this good lane for Niku goes even better.
Does leave the Gyro all alone though, right? And that is going to be ending his life. Got he did have a lot of one charges to play with, and Riddius comes over. He's going to be doing his best to assist and actually saves his life there at the tail end. Who's going to be saving his life? However, this is what you mentioned. Only one round of spells, and from afar, Desire gets a kill shot. Juice comes over back and says, "You didn't do anything with your life. You will be remembered as a support who died for nothing." Both of them going down. Juice definitely making a huge blunder.
Yeah, I mean, he was just far too deep, especially considering what you're going up against, right? The penitence for the movement speed slow with the boars comboed together. I think Jebe even deliberately timed them so that it was immediately after the flak cannon was used, so no quick way to be able to deal with those Call of the Wild boars.
There's some stack stealing now happening. Mobe runs in, kill shot from afar, avalanche and toss, but they do have the stun from Niku. Shards are going to be perfect with 3 of them attacking him. Riddius is coming over to be the 4th one. Mobe not getting out of this one alive. They do bring in Zibe. They definitely want to punish this. Snowball being used just to cover the retreat of his teammate. Zayats will die so that the young'uns can live.
Alright. I mean, you end up killing the Tiny, but I think he got a decent amount of those creeps in the stack as well, so it's actually not the worst for him to be able to play around that. And again, you just see the importance of this Jakiro hero, right? Being able to get off multiple rounds of spells. That time around, he did have the 1 point in the Ice Path, so not just the stun, but also the additional damage that you get off the back of it as well. I almost wonder how Riddies is actually going to skill beyond this point, because he's put 2 points in the Liquid Fire and Liquid Frost. So is he looking to just
max it out? Yeah, I've seen that, or I've seen Ice Path at this point, but the maxing out of the Liquid Fire is pretty common nowadays.
Riddies, speaking of him though, he's gone a little bit too far.
If the DK can save his life, he's trying to take a breath there for the Ice Path. We'll use the dual breath as well, not really doing anything significant. So they do bring down the Jakiro, protect their tower for now.
Like I'm an advocate of 2 points dual breath, just because it literally doubles its damage from level 1 to level 2. That just seems like a huge amount of value, but totally get it if they just want to be prioritizing a little bit more on destroying objectives. I mean, mid tower's less than half already, so seems like that's the main priority for them, especially considering you have to look at what heroes AVULUS have to play with, particularly with regards to their cores, right? They've already seen Navi Junior rotate into their ancient camp once, so they know that it's likely to happen again. So it's really just about protecting that tower as much as possible.
Desire found, taken out, scouting a little bit of what's happening there in the jungle, of course, only farming, but he will be paying because of that. Then Invis Rune Tiny, Mobe going towards God the Juice. They did spot him there for a second, so they're gonna be fine. But that was a scary situation to be in for the Gyro.
Yeah, no, he only had three one charges, so probably would have died actually off the back of the level 7 Tiny, who's still hanging around this top lane for now, maybe just anticipating that someone is going to come and defend this, but they don't have the greatest vision up around this top side, and it's still nighttime for about a minute or so. So with the D ward that happened, that also spotted out that invis rune, they're going to have to back off, and this is pretty big for a Tiny, right? Just to not accomplish much for, like, let's say a minute straight. Like, this is where you should be trying to reach that blink dagger timing and have that huge power spike.
Hasn't really been able to get much ever since that invasion of Navi Jr. But despite everything, it is still a 1k goal lead for AVULUS. Every single one of their cores is slightly ahead of their counterpart on the other side. So for now, doing well.
Very early Midas as well for Smiling Knight.
Oh, interesting.
He's going to get a ton of value out of it. I mean, I guess he's just assuming that this is going to go late-ish, considering, you know, you've got a DK, you've got a... Hold on.
They go with the Hand of God, and got the juice in a lot of trouble. He's actually going to stand his ground and fight, trying to do as much damage to Mobe as he can. The Chen making sure that Mobe is not even close to dying as they send Smiling Knight forward. With the ulti still going strong, you don't want to get turned into stone. Looking away, but it's not going to save your life in the end. It's going to be 3 heroes dead on Navi Jr. Getting ahead of themselves, thinking they can just so casually invade the enemy jungle.
Yep, and it really just goes to show why they put so much emphasis on AVULUS of protecting that mid tower, right? Like, that's where these TPs started to come in from Smiling Knight and the rest of the boys, just to be able to provide those reinforcements, to not give up these stacks that you know are going to be made. Because, I mean, look at the heroes that they're playing with. Shibe, 4 points in the Wild Axes, great stack taker. You've got a Tiny, very great stack taker. Medusa, great stack taker. So you know that this is going to be a target for the enemy team, and I feel like they've responded to it very well.
Amazing, pretty much. I'm loving what they're doing, and now we're seeing a night and day difference of a Soneko Warlock and a Soneko Chen.
Yep.
It's not even close in terms of performance and impact. Desire.
We got the juice once again. Early
I
blink
think
dagger.
they got him with a toss back avalanche as well. Kill shot, not enough for a kill. Got the juice, turns around. Even with the strength shreds, he's still gonna go down. Desire, focus fire to finish him off. Now Niku, his rotation is coming through. Roar not available just yet, but he doesn't necessarily know that. PMA coming back in, and yeah, now they do have the roar, so Zibe can go with that one. Snowball to the side. Zibe is gonna be waiting for Zayas there on the high ground with Smiling Knight and Mobe being in the vicinity. Zayas can only hope to deny, which is not gonna be allowed there.
And they're going to get a nice extra bounty for their troubles as well. Taking out this camp as Mobe, has he gone a little bit too deep?
Or maybe just baited in Navi Jr., who at this point don't have enough damage to play with.
Well, nicely done. I mean, this is just a completely different AVULUS that we're seeing. Smiling Knight getting off to a much better start. Really, that reconfiguration of lanes is probably what's won them this game so far, right? Like, you just didn't want to be going up against that previous matchup. They've been able to switch it up a little bit, make sure that you are limiting as well the impact of the gyrocopter through, you know, frequent mana burns onto him as well. So, did we even see a cooldown in these previous fights?
I don't recall. Maybe he did use it because he was coming from the side, and we just didn't see it on the main screen. But it hasn't looked good either way.
3 levels behind the Medusa. Like, this is real significant. I know Medusa's got a Midas, so obviously that's going to contribute to it. But she's only had it for about 3-4 minutes, so a couple of usages out of it does not this much of a difference make. At least now Got the Juice has his Crystallis though, so he's going to have a lot more of that damage potential in these team fights.
It is gonna take a long time for him to finish off the axe, though. This is not a position with the gyro that you want to be in. And usually you would have this timing where the Beastmaster doesn't have his axe, a timing where you could punish your opponents. That time is gone. Beastmaster, he has his Aghanim Scepter. Navi Jr. have already expressed a problem with their damage, so I don't know how they're gonna be killing this guy. I guess it has to be the Sand King.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hero that we haven't really seen that big of an impact from to this stage, and I feel like that's about to change with Blink Dagger coming out on the courier right now for PMA, so it's just going to be a matter of clear out one more creep wave, get the Blink Dagger, which hopefully he holds in the tree line and doesn't just get it immediately revealed onto him, although he's getting tossed.
he might be holding in a tree line now. He should have it to get away. Mobe a bit too deep inside of the macro park. Can they take him down with the snowball keeping in place long enough to get the kill? But they needed a full macro park duration basically to take him out.
It's a big kill though. I mean, how much do they have left? Even using the epicenter there, so there's nothing really stopping Smiling Knight with these bunch of auras and the amp damage on Jibe from just sweeping across the board. No stacks, thankfully, for NAVI Jr. that they're going to lose off the back of these movements, but they will probably lose this tier 1 tower bottom. They might even lose Roshan. I mean, sure, why not?
Are you getting this now for the Medusa or for the Beastmaster? It seems that Zibe has already opened up a slot, so I got the
I'd give it to Jibe, yeah. When you're getting this early Aghanim Scepter, let him frontline. You know, you know you've got him backed up with a Hand of God, with a mechanism, everything else at the disposal as well. So, very, very nicely done by AVULUS. We were starting to count them out off the back of game 1, but just goes to show that got to respect the playstyle that gets you to this point.
I mean, they've played, even beaten some of the best teams in the world with their own stuff, with their own approach to the game. Navi Jr., they're definitely not at the best in the world level, at least not just yet. You never know how it's going to be looking in a month or two, in a year. But overall, this game does look clean from AVULUS, not gonna lie, and a hard one to get back into, at least in the next 5 to 10 minutes for Navi Jr.
Seneko gets a free Aghanim shard himself. Just again, this is where AVULUS really shines, right? Just ball up and go. When you get those lanes in a decent enough spot, it just feels so much more coherent with their general playstyle. And so I really would be surprised if they're not going to be like right on top of each other at all times, but I feel like they're just going to be within arm's reach a lot of the time, so that they are able to, you know, change, turn around team fights if it's the absolute necessity. Because again, you've got the Hand of God to protect, you've got the Aegis to be able to protect. So the people putting themselves in most harm's way should probably be Zibe, and you've even got the Manta style on Smiling Knight, so he can start to get a bit of a ghost push happening off the back of that.
He is incredibly farmed on Smiling Knight. That butterfly, it's gonna come out in no time, really, considering that you have a Midas. So what now? What now for both of the teams, basically? Navi Jr., how do you delay this game long enough, and what are you even delaying for? And on the side of AVULUS, how do you push this pretty much amazing lead that you've been able to delay?
Yeah, I mean, I think Navi Jr. just need to play a little bit of cat and mouse right now. You know, constantly dodge what AVULUS are trying to do. The issue is that if they're just going to ball up, you're going to start losing tier 2 towers in the not too distant future, which certainly isn't the case that you want to be in. I mean, they still need Blink Dagger on Tusk, they still need Aghanim Scepter on Gyrocopter, they would like to have a Crimson Guard on PMA as well, and a BKB on Niku. So they're about, let's say, 4 minutes away from being able to pick up at least a few of those items. But I don't think AVULUS are going to give them that sort of window to do so. This 2.5 minutes of the Aegis is going to be so vital as to the outcome of this game.
Well, let's see if Navi can do something about it. As you mentioned, 2.5 minutes remaining. Once the glyph does end, they're still going to be getting this tower. Looking towards Zayats. Toss back. Very nice positioning from Mobe. This is what happens when you play so much Tiny. All the little positioning things you can do right, and tier 2 will be taken out. Do you even poke at high ground here? No, you don't. Oh,
Seems like they want to try and... It's just Riddies, though. I'm not sure if this is worth going all the way back for. I mean, maybe they just didn't want to lose their own tier 1 tower, and they feel confident enough pushing up into this high ground with no supports to have to deal with. Maybe the haste rune, it certainly makes things a whole lot easier, I suppose, to be able to very, very quickly rejoin the rest of the team.
Want the glyph so hard here, but another wave will be coming fairly soon. Probably time to still bail and go towards the mid lane. I like it that they are setting up for the mid lane right now. They didn't force out the glyph, but they got a kill and can still get this tier 2 down as well.
And some of these auras are really starting to get out of control. You've got Mech, you've got Vlads, you've got, I think, 4 different auras on some of these creeps. You've got Inner Beast, of course.
It's it pretty much looks easy right? How do you even stop it as Navi Junior? Because AVULUS, they can play with one arm. Right now, they don't even have to be focusing. Just from a tower to tower, they go, and they're getting everything they need.
But they do have a few of those items that we were talking about. So now you've got Nico with his Blink BKB, you've got PMA with Blink Crimson Guard. Don't quite yet have that Aghanim Scepter finished up for Got the Juice. He's actually farming very, very deep in enemy territory, but that's a smart place to be because that's not where AVULUS want to be right now. They want to be pushing the advantage. They want to be constantly playing on the Navi Junior side of the map. So should be able to get it very, very soon.
He has the money.
Yeah, where's the courier actually? Because he's... Oh no, he's got all of the things. He's really just wanting to avoid it entirely, huh?
Yep, he doesn't know what to do, where to go to the secret shop. None of them feel safe, and pretty much none of them are. The bottom lane, you have a lot of AVULUS heroes. Not any longer, though. But top lane, there is a ward in that secret shop.
He's just waiting for anyone to reveal on the map to give him some sense of security. And he's mindful to try and play near that top side of the map where they actually don't have a tier 1 tower as well. So makes it a little bit easier for him to play up in this sort of area. There's not going to be any sort of instant TP reinforcements coming through. But I mean, they have dodged out the Aegis without, you know, losing high ground, with getting a few items for themselves, with getting Gyrocopter effectively having the Aghanim Scepter. Of course, doesn't yet, but shouldn't be too long.
Yeah, stopping the bleeding is always the first path to coming back. So what's the second one?
I'm not sure if they will be willing to wait like a full potential Roche respawn or look to try and fight around Wisdom Runes. Right now, I think what they just want is more predictability out of what AVULUS are trying to do. You know, if you can know exactly where they're going to be at a certain point in time, it's just so much easier to be able to set up these team fights, especially, you know, again, if Sand King's able to get off a level 2 epicenter, it's huge.
Poor Got the Juice. He has no idea just how dead he is. Now he knows. Now he's gonna be aware. And he still hasn't gotten a chance to buy that Aghanim Scepter. He even buys the full Revenant's Brooch.
Okay. Still only 500 gold away from the Ags. PMA... Is he gonna die as well? Okay. He's gonna be able to back off. But you saw instantly as soon as he got jumped, literally everyone else on Navi just started running down their lanes and pushing it out. And trying to stall this game out a little bit further because you don't know where they are. Your vision right now is not amazing on Navi Junior's side. It's just a couple of really defensive wards in the lanes, not revealing too much about where they might be moving around on the sides of the map. And honestly, those are very easily de-wardable ones as well if AVULUS did want to just go ahead and buy a gem.
We'll see if they wanted this early. I mean, they could get it. I don't particularly feel like their lineup needs to control every little piece of vision, because I think that they're just all that strong. Zayats is being eyed here by Zibe. Power shot from afar, blink roar, and that is gonna be a very dead tusk. Well, okay. Nice burrow strike onto the three of them. They're gonna try and kill Seneko, who doesn't have a buyback, so Zibe will be next on the menu. No BKB, just get very close to it. Nico, however, he does have his macro power being used there to separate the fight, and now they might be thinking about going for the Medusa. Oh, no Stone Gaze any longer, but this should be good enough for them.
No Stone Gaze, but no BKB on the Dragon Knight, and no Epicenter used by PMA as well. So I was a little surprised at that. He was able to, you know, hold his hand.
Baiting them. Can Nico survive this? He's quite tanky with the Force Staff. He's fine. That power shot probably would have taken his life now. It's just not going to happen. Sand King is coming back. Chen will be alive in a second, though.
I suppose, but if you're getting that jump with a level 16 Sand King, probably still dying at this stage. I mean, maybe he just wants to wait for the Veil to be able to be picked up first, just for that little bit of extra damage, although he's walking into Mobe right now.
See how much damage Mobe can do. Of course, he does have the help of the supports. Again, power shots are constantly being dodged. However, once Zibe comes over, even through the Crimson Guard, they're gonna do more than enough damage to bring down, I'd say, the most dangerous hero, Navi Jr. at this moment.
Yeah. I mean, Gyro's gotten a lot stronger ever since picking up that Ags now, and he's got the Revenant's Brooch, and as soon as he gets into that BKB, you're just a whole lot less concerned about the Tiny in particular. But I don't know, for now, I mean, the net worth is kind of closing in a little bit, though, right? I think it was as far apart as 11k, and it's gone down to about 9 or 10.
Yep, it's but it's still close. But as it is not increasing, right? That's the main thing, and time is passing. So
Do they contest this Roche is my real question. Second Roshan with this big ball up and Zerg lineup with Beastmaster, Chen, Auras out the wazoo, and you know that they're probably going to be there because this is what the draft does. It doesn't seem like they're going to be able to move quickly enough.
no, I guess no BKB on the gyro is dissuading them from any kind of attempt. So that's gonna be the Aegis and the banner. Do you think that's finally enough for them to knock on the high ground?
I think it is, and I also it's so hard for PMA to do it because the way that AVULUS are moving is the correct one. You know, like if people aren't showing on the map, they're more likely to be on the outer sides of the map. As to be a little careful there, PMA standing right underneath an observer ward. So it's much more beneficial to be pushing out these side lanes as opposed to mid if you're on AVULUS' side, just because it becomes a riskier prospect to be able to farm in that area. They're like, do they have vision of me? Do they not? What can I possibly do at this stage? And what PMA wants to be doing right now is shoving out these lanes, even cutting them if he can afford to, because he's still got buyback if it is you know, an absolute emergency.
I want to pick your brain a little bit about this Medusa build, right? Because I can't say I've seen it in the past. I can definitely understand what he's gunning for, but for me, this is pretty much preparing for the later portions of the game. Just getting even more farm and I guess AoE damage, but it doesn't really give you that tankiness to that you want to go high ground. Let's say a Butterfly or a Scotty would.
But do you feel like he... I guess the Scotty would be nice against the Gyro in particular before he gets into that BKB for himself, but I don't know. I just feel like you've got enough of a supporting cast on your backlines because, I mean, Mobe's been doing a fantastic job of being able to find those quick pickoffs at the start. It doesn't reflect in his kill score, but he's assisted in about 8 pickoffs at this stage. So, you know, if you're able to split up the fight like that and then just use the raw power that the Beastmaster and Chen auras and heals and everything, and Vlad's even off the top of that is going to give you, then I don't think you're necessarily all that concerned. I think you can just stand your ground and not care.
Oh, let's see if that's going to be the case. I mean, if he can stand his ground and not care, the damage output is going to be insane once he does have his Aghanim Scepter. Mind you, that was a level 25 talent back in the day, and you're now going to have it 27 minutes into the game.
Oh, yeah. Looking pretty good right now. Smoke being popped here. It's just the ninja gear on Jibei. Do they have any detection that will enable him to just blink super deep and raw? Don't think they do. He's even got his veil in his backpack as well, so hopefully for AVULUS' sake they fix that one up. Trying to find someone off to the side that might have been pushing in that mid lane, but again, who cares if Smiling Knight's able to just stand this deep?
They have to BKB to kill the banner. That just doesn't feel too good. Burrow Strike only onto the illusions. There's a Gale Force. Ice Path as well. Navi Jr. Kinda wanna take away this Aegis. They got the Medusa lowish in mana, but the heals are coming through, so he's gonna be getting a lot of that mana back.
I wonder if you just drop the macro pyre, just to kind of push them back a little bit, force them to not want to commit, but it doesn't seem like they're feeling confident enough to do it. And I mean, Niku, he's well away with 25 seconds left on his TP as well, wants to have that nullifier, so there's not that save potential coming through. They want a quick pick onto the Wind Ranger as well in dispelling that win run.
They're letting it go. They were fine with using the Dragon form and the BKB to kill the banner, so now you pretty much don't have a Dragonite.
Yep. Can TP back if he needs to, but he doesn't want to. He wants to get that next big item. He is going to TP, but it's prior to level 20 as well.
Does have a
buy found another
though.
pick.
That's a toss. PMA, he cannot die. Roar was used, but the snowball safe, keeping him alive. Yule's on the tiny, keeping himself safe for now. But they all jumped into the stone gaze. Niku just gets into stone immediately, and finally Mobe will die. Even with the Hand of God, it's not going to be enough to survive. Smiling Knight standing his ground. His damage output is very high. They don't even take care of the Aegis.
I mean, if I'm PMA, I'm very, very frustrated about that because the Deuce popped a lot, right? Like, she doesn't have a BKB, she doesn't have this big save beyond that, but she does have the Aegis still up for another 40 seconds, and he was about 2 hits from dying. He's still holding on to the Epi.
Into the backlines they go, so Neko will die immediately, and, well, Medusa to follow. Tiny did buy back, so he's a part of this fight as well. He's trying to separate the fight on PMA, waiting for the Medusa. They have a lot of stuns with the Snowball as well, no Stone Gaze, so maybe they can get it down. A lot of his mana is already gone, and once it's only the HP, he will be taken out. Mobe also caught first with the Ice Path, then with the Shards. He really doesn't like the cold. Multiple Force Staffs to keep him alive. He does have a Yule's Blink Dagger, will be available once the corrosive is done, but Zayat will not allow it. He destroys him. Desire now inside of the Sandstorm, and another Burrow Strike will be available before he has his Force Staff, but will die to the Stinger. A beautiful fight for Navi Jr., and they've only lost the range racks in the mid lane after that bottom lane as well, so they're still in the game.
More than still in the game. That was a dieback on Mobe as well, so he's down for 55 seconds where they know he's not able to get back into this one. They're just going to shove out some lanes. Yeah, they lost 1.5 lanes of racks and doesn't feel that great, but what it does do is it gives you that extra injection of gold that you're really needing on Niku. You know, now he's got that nullifier coming out to him. Now he's got his level 21, so more attack range to be able to stay away from this Medusa, and when you're hitting, he's just going to be that much more devastating.
Nullifier, I feel like Navi Jr. are ready now to even go for the aggressive play. And I think this is where now this build of the Medusa might come in as a problem, because you're definitely not tanky enough, and I think they can kill him from 100 to 0. The saves from the Chen just don't really work on the Medusa all that well.
For sure. Like, it's all about health, right? And that's really not what you're concerned about as a Dusa, as they're finally, it looks like, going to be able to get this tier 1 tower. I feel like from the Navi Junior side, they just need to weather the storm for another, let's say 2 or 3 minutes, because you would love to have your level 20 on Gyrocopter for the extra 3 flat cannon attacks, and you would love to have this Satanic finished up, which I think is only 10 gold away. So you know that the Roar is going to be coming for you. As long as you're able to pop that Satanic in the wind-up for the Roar, the side gunner is going to keep you alive for that extra little bit that you're needing for Tusk to be able to, you know, get in and save the day.
Well, Desire will save the day by dying himself and not allowing the Medusa to be caught. They will use the Nullifier there at the tail end of his life. Got annoyed a bit by the wind run.
But not that much used. I mean, I guess Elder Dragon form doesn't feel great to be able to use that, but much better to just try and draw this one out that little bit longer. Now you have reached that level 20 on the Gyro, so next big power spikes, honestly, they feel pretty good to go at this point, right? Like, there's nothing major that's going to be coming in the next little bit.
No, not really. I'd say that this is pretty much what they've been looking for the entirety of this game. Maybe just farm your buybacks before the next Roche fight, be a little bit conservative before that, and make sure that once it does come, that you can all come back and fight.
What is the buyback status actually looking like? Because Tusk, I think, was the only one to buy back in that high ground engagement that brought this game back to, it's not even level pegging, right? Like, you would still say AVULUS have the upper hand just off the back of, you know, racks taken, slight net worth lead, but the tide is turning, and maybe it'll go a little bit more in AVULUS' way once again the Dusa hits level 20. Dusa's now, I believe, got the Skadi as well, so it's a big power spike, particularly against that Gyrocopter with the Satanic to be able to have that Skadi.
Gyro shoving out the mid wave. The bottom wave is pushing in though, so this should be somewhat of a tell for AVULUS that there is something coming their way. We'll see when the Roche does spawn, because if you're Navi Junior, you are hoping for it to be an early respawn.
Yeah, I'm kind of wanting Navi Junior to be putting, I know it's important to have wards around that Roche pit, but even just putting a few onto this bottom side so you can find pickoffs like this one onto Mobe, but is he going to be able to do it solo?
TP out. Where's the Tusk blinking? Zayat can't get it in time.
It's on cooldown, unfortunately for him. 3 seconds away, but the lane is pushed. You're going to need someone to go back here, and that just makes your movements a little bit more obvious. It's going to be PMA doing it, because he's got the Boots of Travel. He can look to relatively quickly join the rest of the team. Actually, he just says screw it. He's joining the rest of the team. Lane be damned.
Needs to be there. This next fight could decide so much. If AVULUS wins, that could be a nail in the coffin. But if they lose, Navi Jr., completely back in the game. They will be getting themselves a really nice position here next to the outpost. And you get that outpost, the buybacks from Navi Jr., which they don't have. It won't matter all that much, but the Gyro will have his in this fight if he's there just for one kill.
Whoa, what are you doing,
Gyro?
Gyro?
He has the BKB and the Satanic, so maybe he can heal himself back up, but the snowball save, it didn't allow him to attack, and of course the Medusa are not going to be healing on her. Medusa is doing a lot of damage, but also standing in the macro part that does burn. A nice skill shot on the Tusk. That is the one who cannot come back, no way.
Just secure this arcane room really quick on Riddies, but that was a really ballsy move by Got the Juice to be able to go in that deep, and yeah, like you mentioned, that snowball save, it was great to be able to save his life, but it just meant that they gave up all hope of actually winning the team fight off the back of Gyro standing his ground and fighting.
Now you have to let the Roche go. So, you know, it wasn't the big fight that we were looking for. This is not going to be game deciding, but still a small victory for AVULUS, getting them just that little bit closer to potentially winning the game.
I'd say more than small as well, right? Like the Roshan's banner, we saw that the Navi Junior lineup were willing to pop a Elder Dragon Form and a BKB just to be able to protect the racks for an extra 30 seconds. Well, you're not going to have that luxury this time around. Probably not going to drop it for this mid lane, but top lane is going to be next on the agenda, and that's why there was such a heavy emphasis from PMA to be shoving out that top lane. There's still the tier 2 tower standing there, or do they even just try and go for tier 4s off the back of this?
They probably feel like they don't have to. And but of course, big deal. One thing we didn't mention: Refresher Shard, double roar in the next fight, double BKB for the Beastmaster. That is something to be afraid of.
Even just the movement slow and the extra vision that the Shivas is going to provide as well. Double Arctic Blast, so 8 seconds of 15% more spell damage taken.
It does make a difference,
Got a decent amount of it.
especially with this. Is it spell damage or is it magic damage?
The Ags?
The Shivas.
Oh, the Shivas, sorry. Believe it's magic. Might be wrong.
Damage from spells for 16 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's not magic, it's just spell damage. Weird. I always looked at Veil as though we have a lot of magical damage on our side, but it can just work with any spell, like even the physical damage.
Yeah, like it works with Quillspray, for example.
Yeah, makes sense.
That up.
The Juice?
Got the Juice. He is deep again.
Well, let's see. Roar. They do get the snowball save off. Stone Gaze has been used. Can he heal up with the second roar? He did use the Satanics from the side gunner. He's keeping him alive. They're inside of the macro part. He's somehow still living with the DK joining in on the fight, but finally he will fall. Medusa, they might only take his first life, and what now when you're 2 versus 4? And there's also a cheese. Nico is going to be trying to kill them all before the Medusa is back, but he's still going to be doing a massive amount of damage onto him with the Shackle Shot connected. There's just too many trees for Nico to do anything about it. They're not getting close, and with the kill shot from afar, they'll get the dragon out of the skies.
Maybe just a little bit too far back there on Zayat's Tusk. I mean, I understand it. He's died now 9 times this game, but he just wasn't there until he got the save at about 20% HP on the Gyrocopter, and that just meant that, again, with this BKB expires, that Eye of Skadi just really ruins your life in terms of the amount of healing that you're actually able to get back from that Satanic, whether it's activated or not. So it was a little unfortunate that wasn't able to get the full benefit out of it. AVULUS looking to try and close this one out. They still have that Roshan's banner as well, and they do not have that DK that salvaged at least some of that team fight for their team for another 40 seconds.
Have the Gyro back in 15. Navi Junior, they probably think that they can still make something happen here. The banner is a little bit too far behind, but at least the range creep will be surviving.
Someone can try and aggro it. Oh, maybe.
Maybe. It seems that AVULUS have given up on the push now. I guess they saw there, even with the double roar, even with Zayats being a little bit slow on the save, that fight was closer than you would have wanted it to be.
Oh, for sure. And they had the Aegis as well, remember? So, like, this is not a foregone conclusion. And I would have to say as well that there are some more big timings coming out. I mean, you just finished up a butterfly now on Gyrocopter, so he might get lucky. He might dodge a few of these attacks by the Medusa that are going to be applying the Skadi. You're, I believe, 1,000 gold away on Zayats from being able to pick up an Aghanim Scepter. So if you know that they're going to be coming in onto your high ground, what better way to be able to, for once, start the fight in your favor, where previously that's just been Mobe finding that quick pick-off off the back of a Blink Avalanche toss.
Wanna curse this game a bit? We might be in for the long haul, Danog. 2 minutes later. Well, not saying, just saying that usually when you say that, teams tend to close it out quite quickly right afterwards. So let's see if AVULUS will be able to do it. But the glyph was saved from NAVI Jr. I feel like that's a very important part of their defense if it does come down to a push.
For sure. So is it literally just waiting for Zayats? I mean, 950 gold. He is using the gunpowder gauntlet, so no, like, GPM item that he's going to be holding for now. If they're going to make a move, it's got to be quick. This time around, I feel like Zayats is going to be playing just a little bit closer, but they got to do it fast because that bottom lane is still pushing in. You've got a double siege creep wave at least to be able to even it out a little bit. And I do like this movement from NAVI Jr., where if they found someone on the bottom side of the map, they can both kill them and cut the wave to be able to, you know, not have to be on the ultra defensive, but they're not going to find anyone. So good reading of the game there by AVULUS.
Oh, the Tiny did go through the twin gate towards the bottom lane, so this is
4 seconds
Mobe.
left on smoke.
Ah, he's fine.
You would have seen the Watcher get reclaimed as well. Do they see him? They do. He's right on the edge.
Him on a ward. Going through the twin gate. Instantly Blink, Force Staff out. He wants to get away. The Dragonite coming over. Nullifier being used. He has to yield the Dragonite. Here comes the snowball forward. The stun wall response. He did yield the DK, but I don't think he's getting out of this one. Has the Ogre Seal Totem. And with both of the Blinks being used, they can't get on top of him. Look at AVULUS now coming to punish. Zayats waving goodbye. He's not going to get caught either.
They even used the BKB there on Niku as well, so they know that's down. They know the Elder Dragon form is down, and well, is this now AVULUS' time once again? Although, never mind, the damage that they're taking is from the Tormentor, so that's fine. Smiling Knight getting a freebie for himself, almost level 25 as well.
The Shard and the Medusa, though, not as useful now when. Oh, actually, it does turn people into stone. Okay, then it's still fine. But you still have a double roar, right? Last time it was the refresher shard. Now you do have the orb onto the Beastmaster, the cheese as well. Is there a possibility mid-fight that they can give a cheese to the Medusa? I feel like that could be a game
That's
changer.
definitely a possibility. Yeah, for sure. The old cheese pass, always a bonus. He's going for the Ag's Blessing. What's he got queued up after that? Is there something just waiting on the courier for the Deucer?
No.
Nope.
Guess,
he's waiting in the river, though.
Would you want a Blink in this game as a Medusa? Or maybe he finally buys a Daedalus? I mean, it makes sense with him having the Aghanim Scepter.
Yeah, I'd be totally on board with that. I mean, again, I mentioned like how this game can become difficult for the Medusa if Gyro is just able to stay at complete range and flat cannoner. So something like a Swift Blink would be nice, just to be able to, you know, get into your most ideal position and then pop your Stone Gaze to be able to just chase people down, because you're not lacking in damage, I think, on AVULUS. You're not lacking in survivability. But the Chen does start to fall off slightly, you know, and I mean, there's not really any big power spikes that are going to be coming for him in the near future.
DK is level 25. He went for the Wyrm's Wrath effect during Elder Dragon form. People have been going for that one quite a lot. And if he gets this Black Dragon, that is going to be one tough cookie to crack.
Basically, we'd need to just kill him in the double roar, and then you've also got to be mindful of Zayats. Are they going to be able to sneak this Roshan, though, with the tag team? Could be a possibility.
Kind of fast at doing so.
Although, they see them.
The Gale Force, pushed out, roar from the Roche. Toss back. They want Nico in the snowball save this time around, just in time. The first roar was used. nice blink out from Niku. They're looking towards Zayats. He will be taken down most likely by the epicenter this time around. Zibe, he's in trouble. Refresher. BKB still has one more ore to work with.
They're out of
The
juice.
Tusk wants to come back, and they want to go on God the Juice. Lotus Orb a bit too late on him. Toss again. Snowball save not there in time. He will be buying back. They know it is do or die situation right now. Smiling Knight knowing that as well. Coming forward. It is. He needs to keep himself away, and in the backline, Zayat is going to be found as well. Nice toss back. Mobe just finding those connections. They have so many repositioning tools. PMA completely isolated. The Lotus Orb will not help him. And God the Juice is looking at them while they are slaughtering his team. Navi Jr. will call GG, and we are going to a decider.
God the Juice just spent that last little bit of the team fight farming ancient camps, and total damage in that last fight. Needs to be able to, like, we now see that this is a Smiling Knight Medusa, right? And yes, he played it amazingly, but you're also very vulnerable to being specifically targeted by this double diffusal blade purchase from Zayats and PMA.
How do you feel about this undulation facet on a carry Medusa, right? Is it something that you think is just going to become a staple now, or is Smiling Knight just a guy who wants to play it this way?
Do they have a ton of slows? They got a couple, right? I think it's fine just to be able to basically not have to worry about boots is another good thing. You know, you're already moving at basically your full movement speed, and it means you're able to just sell them really
lanes
early.
again, right?
Okay, seems like it.
Ah.
Are they swapping everyone, or
No,
is it going to be Desire paired together with Smiling Knight?
Just the cores if the Medusa stays on the top lane now, because the Zibe's positioning has been revealed, so maybe you want to go back. No, they're not doing it. He's staying in the top lane, and Shaker Medusa that cannot be slowed down versus a Crystal Maiden sounds good to me.
Yeah. Also, the lane's going to be in guaranteed a very good spot because of Desire getting the Fisher block off nice and early. And this is what Zayats likes to do as well. This bottom lane, he gone a little early, never mind. Able to snipe that range creep, so it's going to result in the lane pushing into the Radiant Tower a little bit sooner with range creeps damage type doing a whole lot extra against creeps.
Okay, so talk to me about this bottom lane. How is this gonna go? A Warlock and a Primal Beast, right? So your thoughts, because you probably don't have a lot of experience watching this lane.
No, definitely not. I mean, just logically, it makes a lot of sense, right? With once level 2 comes up, Jibe will charge in with the trample, and Snako will be looking to use that fatal bonds, and it's a good amount of AoE damage that you're able to do. But you also have to consider that NAVI Jr. have a lot of movement abilities to be able to avoid just getting caught in the middle of a trample, whether that be Swashbuckle, whether that be Shield Crash, whether that be Blink Strike, which Zayats is using to pretty full effect right now to be able to just get a ton of harass in.
Yeah, he's fine allowing this to be a 1 versus 1. So how does it feel in a 1 versus 1? I know Primal Beast later on is definitely a counter to the Pango. How is he in a... We've seen this matchup in the mid lane, but in a long lane, does the matchup change much?
No, I don't think so. I think you just need to, again, focus on the attack damage differential as Zayats continuing to try and be a little bit sneaky here. He's got a Tango running as well, and one still left in the courier. But yeah, I'm just seeing Jibe get like a couple of range creep denies that PMA probably shouldn't be letting happen off the back of, you know, having the double jump available and things of that nature. So you would have to imagine that both of these cores really like the fact that they're going to be left solo a lot of the time. You know, they're two of the best cores with early levels, and you know, it means you can effectively play them kind of like a mid laner.
Yeah, pretty much that's how it goes. And so far the Tiny isn't doing too hot in the mid lane, but as I mentioned, I've seen this matchup and it's not 100% like that the Slardar demolishes it. Because when I first saw this being picked, I think it was like 10-15 days ago, I thought that the Slardar was gonna annihilate the Tiny. It's not as one-sided, but he is winning.
No, definitely not. He is, and I mean, just having that Seaborn Sentinel innate ability as well, you know, just making sure that you can keep the wave right in the middle of the water feels really nice too.
Well, The lead is increasing though. Mobe 5 CS ahead, and of course 4 denies. Niku doesn't have that when you're a tiny and you are losing in denies. It does tend to hurt. But of course, melee hero Slardar, at some point you can make a mistake like this and get hit by the tower a couple of times. So nicely done by Niku, finding an opening.
Yeah, should still be fine. Got 2 tangos left to be able to play with. They actually wants to try and man up a little bit against the tiny. I suppose realizing early on that the avalanche toss combo still was about 5 seconds away from being used, so really pushing the boundaries, but that's what you're needing to do if you're looking to try and fulfill this role that your team needs of you, and getting out of this lane in a really good spot.
A real fight of the 2 giants here. Niku will at least secure that he gets the flag bearer, but overall, once again, a very slow start to the laning stage. Really nobody getting close to dying. The Medusa is farming really well on the top lane, however, though, and even has a full wave close to his tower. Another one will be coming over. Beautiful positioning of the lane for him.
Yep. Looks like they'll just trade the water runes 1 for 1. Seneko was moving to try and make sure that they got the trade, and might actually die here to Zayats. Still has 10 seconds left on the next blink strike, so it should be able to potentially get away under the tower. We'll need to do some juking though. Oh.
Fine. Zyre
CM's
gets the
not.
first blood. Ridis gets taken away, and you picked up this CM to do well in the lane. Now let's see if the Morphling can kill him. Nowadays, people do not get the adaptive strike. It's just not worth it any longer for these Morphlings to do, so he cannot punish the death of his support.
Surprised, like I get not wanting to put many points into it, but surely one feels nice, just to be able to, you know, get that last hit, to secure that range creep a little bit more easily and not have to use the waveform to do so. And yeah, you see Smiling Knight just immediately emoting off the back of a denied range creep.
I don't know. I need to talk to a carry player just to see why they are refusing to go for this. As it really does take away a lot from your burst early on, later on as well. I'm not sure if I like the build overall.
Yeah, carry player is not me, so
Yep, unfortunately. But Smiling Knight has lost a big chunk of his mana. He doesn't have a wand for a Medusa. That's quite weird. But he is queuing it up. Meanwhile, mid lane Niku is keep baiting in this Slardar, who has 11 warm charges. Mind you, might even kill both of you. Avalanche has been used. Turns around onto the tiny. And no, Zayats finishes him off before Niku loses life. Now, maybe with the fatal bonds onto that siege creep, he can make sure that the tiny at least dies. But Niku says no. DP away, survives, bottle refilled, and he will be fine.
that courier going down as well. Yeah, that is very, very surprising about the Magic Wand for sure. But how is he going to rush the Midas if he doesn't, you know, get a little bit greedier along the way? He's only about 700 gold away from being able to get it. So fairly reasonable timing once again for Smiling Knight.
More than reasonable. I mean, he's already 500 gold ahead of the Morphling coming out of the laning stage. If this laning stage even ends, I feel like the side of Avulus would, because of the Warlock, because of the Shaker, want to make their laning stage last long.
For sure. Also, just looking at Jibe, I mean, the fact that his phase boots on the courier got destroyed by Zayats is actually a pretty big deal. You know, now you're not able to potentially go for solo kills onto PMA. Not that he would be in any real danger. He's of course got the shield crash, the magic wand, the healing lotus as well to be able to make plays with. He's actually the one taking the brunt of the damage.
I really like how Zayats plays this Ricky. He literally doesn't care. He just goes forward all the time. Look at that.
I'm sure Smiling Knight was wanting that that wisdom rune, but I got a feeling that Seneko overruled him for that one. Maybe this will be the game that he uses the Black Grimoire.
Maybe.
And once again, they have given him a little bit more of that farm priority, with Jibe being able to go back to the jungle and take some of these stacks that Seneko started to make on his movements towards mid. A little bit mistiming there by Mobe, so Zayat's not going to take a ton of damage.
He would have been fine, I guess. Anyways, Ricky is kind of a high armor hero, so you are generally fine. But of course, once the Slardar gets his level 6, that is when it becomes very hard for the Tiny to come close. You get your level 6, you think finally I don't have 0 armor, and then bam, you actually do.
Yeah. He was brought to -2, I think, when Obe uses that level 1 Corrosive Haze onto him. So, yeah, needing to be very mindful, and I'm sure Zayats is probably just going to be playing where the Slardar isn't. And he hung around mid lane now just to be able to potentially secure that power rune, but luck was not on his side.
They are gonna be gunning for PMA. He has the Rolling Thunder. The question is, can use it? No, Shield Crash does not connect. Swashbuckle, Slaughter coming in, Crush is there, minus armor. Goodbye PMA. That was a really good polarize. I think maybe if he gets his Shield Crash off, he can get closer to living, but no such luck.
No such luck indeed, and well, this is a big deal, right? Like, the big reason that you picked this Pangolier was not only that you can be somewhat sustainable in the lane, but you are that Diffusal Blade buyer, and if you're getting kills onto him, if you're denying, you know, big stacks that were built up to be able to take, then obviously that's going to be hindered fairly significantly.
Tough situation to be in for Navi Jr. when all 3 of your cores are kind of behind. Ricky is having a solid game, but he feels like the only one. Everybody else is gonna have to be playing some kind of catch-up at some point.
8.5 minute Midas timing this time around for Smiling Knight, so he's improving.
That's how it goes. Proving with his greed, though. They didn't even get close to punishing him not having a wand. That is what is the scariest part.
Love the fact that with the Spark of Courage as well, like, he's always going to have the damage component active just because of how Medusa works, you know?
Yep.
You're not going to be losing your health until the very end, and to be honest, you don't really need that armor at this stage, being an Agi hero, and oh, hold on, these big dives.
Well, now he did get the shield crash off, but still, forcing out TPs, getting yourself away. If you're AVULUS, you're not too mad about that outcome in the end. Well,
so once again, a little slowish start to the game, but I think we're really going to see things start to break open once A, we get a few more of these neutral items, B, we start to get more of these ultimates, and C, Pangolier 1800 gold away from that Diffusal. Every minute counts.
Zayat's jumping forward. Maybe you should have decided against it. Golem will be dropped from the other side, and with the onslaught, they push Niku even closer to the enemies, bashing him into the ground. They want him dead, and we'll be getting him as well. AVULUS breaking the game apart. Now looking towards this mid lane as well. They will be marking Ridis, but no need to chase. The tower is just such a bigger prize.
Oh, Harry, I'm so happy. The Grimoire used 10.5 minutes with the siege creep, win a team fight, take the tower, everything going to plan for AVULUS now.
Well, nothing going to plan for Navi Jr. Ridis comes over with very low HP, almost dies to the fissure, will somehow be surviving. He even baits in Zibe. It's gonna be a way for him forward, but God the Juice, they really want it. He doesn't even bring down the Primal Beast and goes into the Echo. Both of them getting super low. God the Juice trying to morph into strength, everything that he has. They did lose their Crystal Maiden, and somehow God the Juice is still alive. Now turning around, finishing off this Arseneko next on the menu. These heals from the Shadow Word, keeping him and his teammates alive.
Golem's just chasing down PMA and, well, he's eventually going to die. Just, he actually timed out, didn't even die, so just shows the threat of having that early Warlock Golem for the drop, of course, in the mid-fight to be able to take the tower, but that damage that it does this early into the game cannot be understated.
And Smiling Knight, all alone, Crush to protect him, Tree Toss, and the Onslaught almost getting him into a bad position. Staneko is there to heal him, will get him back up to full, but of course he cannot give him his mana back. They'll bring down the tiny PMA. He's also scouted there by the Corrosive Haze, still going strong, but Navi Jr. should be able to escape.
Running a little low on resources, with Staneko even just using the Shadow Word onto him as he TPs away, just being that little bit extra annoying, because why not? It does mean that this top side is completely opened up. You know that the Morphling is TP'd away. He TP'd down bottom, so I guess there is a small possibility that he just comes back through the Twin Gate and looks to re-engage, but I don't think he has the resources to be able to do that. But it's really just a night and day difference, isn't it, Harry Base, compared to game one. Off of
for sure.
Just getting so much more active around this Warlock. Like, you can see Golem's already 25 seconds away from coming up again. And by that time, this tower's gone. Maybe you do go through the Twin Gate. Maybe you use it on the bottom tier 1 tower. and open up the Ancient Camp for you to be able to take, because you're playing with a Deucer, even playing with an Earthshaker, who, if there are stacks, you just bring them together and drop the Echo. Why not? It's very important to steal away this farm from the Shaker and from the Morphling in particular.
They did defend the tower on Navi Jr. for now, of course. Blink Dagger is ready on the tiny Slaughter. Of course, doesn't have his just yet. Didn't rush it. But I really have to ask you about this Lincoln Sphere on the Morphling. I don't quite get it.
Yeah, me either. Pulverize, I guess. Like, Primal doesn't have anything else to be able to, like, interrupt it. Speaking of Primal, he's actually the one that's getting gone on at this point in time. Good rock.
Golem might be enough to turn it around. Doesn't look like it. They're healing him up. He has so much armor. There is a Rolling Thunder still waiting for him. He got another upper or off.
He's alive.
With the Pulverize. Somehow he is still alive. Will die to the shield crash. Niku crossing away the Slaughter. He's gonna get frostbitten. Maybe even doing him a bit of a favor. Mobe, I don't know if he would have escaped there if he stayed in place.
This is what I'm talking about with Shakers being do-nothing position fours. I mean, Desire was just sitting down bottom the entire time, hoping that Got the Juice went out of position to drop a Echo Slam onto a full Agi-morphed Morphling, but of course he didn't make that mistake, and he's still 400 gold away from being able to get into that Blink Dagger. At least he'll be able to snipe this Shrine of Wisdom, though. So, little win coming through there for Avulus.
That's a solid one, right? You do want your extra levels now in the Aftershock once you do get the Blink Dagger, and he's at least gonna have 3 points that allows you to chain people. If you want with your spells. So how do you feel the game is going at the moment? Obviously there's a lead for Avulus, but is this a comfortable position for them, or do you think they wanted more?
I think it's comfortable enough, to be honest. Like, I think that mid lane went pretty much as expected for Slaughter, although Mobe has fallen off a little bit in recent times. It's because he's been getting so active around Seneko in particular, just trying to join in. I mean, it was a 4-man chaotic offering that was hit there. There just wasn't that follow-up, and this is what I'm talking about with Desire, where it just kind of feels like he's sitting around right now. And that's nothing against Desire himself as the player. It's just, I want to see him either getting involved with the team, or if you're going to be greedy and sit back and not farm, you got to actually farm, because that Blink Dagger is still 200 gold away.
Let's see. He does want to fight now. We'll be placing down a ward. Zayat's in the vicinity, but he needs to get close to that sentry if they want to kill him, and Zayat doesn't want to do it.
Hasn't got any wards placed down himself yet either. Although, that's just a courier.
When they see the Tormentor die, he's gonna go forward, places down a sentry. Now he knows that they see him as well. Wants to go into the Warlock, smokescreen onto the ground. He is being healed up a lot.
Ambitious. But the boys
Very
are coming.
Ambitious. Well,
then they're going.
They're gonna be a bit late to save him, and yep, it's time to bail.
A little bit odd that that play there. I mean, it just felt like no one was really in position to truly contest and didn't have vision over the Tormentor and went in after it had already been taken. And you don't take Tormentor with just a Warlock, so the decision to just dive right on in there is certainly a puzzling one.
You know, you've been talking a lot about this Shaker not doing. Oh, no way that he just found him. Poor Diz, he thought he was gonna get out. Meanwhile, they do leave Seneko to die, so both of the position 5s losing their life. But Shaker now has a blink and a shard, so you know, he might just be the most useful out of all the supports. Nico will find him doing some damage to him, really not all that much. He also has a healing Lotus to play with. Didn't put the smoke screen down, Zayas just dies. Zibe's damage output is insane. Nico, even with the haste, he couldn't go the other way.
I think he got a little bit lucky there, Desire, with the, oh, never mind, jump in. Might not be too lucky this time around. And that haste rune that you mentioned, enabling him to get back to safety. But yeah, I think the enchant totem was meant for stunning Niku, which it did. But it also just caught Zayats as well, enabling the Echo Slam to go off, and the follow-up damage we know is going to be there from Mobe.
I mean, Zayats, he's a Shaker player himself. He needs to be able to look into the future and understand what's gonna happen. But yeah, that is quite unfortunate. Yeah, everybody hates when that happens. You blink in and suddenly there's a stun on top of you.
Yeah. Mid lane. Talking about blinking in, Riddy's He's being focused. No, okay. I was like, surely not. They're chaotic offering for all of that, but well, still able to get the kill for relatively free. I wonder if they're going to start making a bit of a move up towards the top side because, well, they don't know it, but all of the vision right now on Navi Jr. is down bottom. And you've got decent amount for yourselves up top on Avulus. You, at the time, had Shibe there on his Primal Beast as well. But he's just trampling trees at the moment, not actually accomplishing too much of anything. But yeah, surely... Oh, hold on. That's a big
That
golem.
is a lot of damage onto Zayas. He did heal up a solid amount. Needs to be careful with the corrosive haze on him. This golem can kill him quite easily. But in the end, golem dropped. Not a single kill has been taken by Avulus. So Navi Jr. are kind of gonna be happy about it.
So yeah, do they stick around this area and try and just consistently go for kills? I mean, they're going to need to wait 20 seconds at least for the Echo Slam on Desire. Or do you wait for the BKB coming through? Because that really does feel like the big tipping point, is that once Mobe has that spell immunity, he doesn't care about CM at all. He doesn't care about Tiny at all. It's still too early for him to be, you know, doing too much right-click damage on this Tiny that you really need to be overly concerned about.
I feel like the BKB on the Primal Beast is enough to posture aggressively, and then with the BKB on the Slardar, you dive, right? That's kind of how I'm looking at this one. And Slardar is a bit too speedy for the rest of his team.
And he's not in a position to bait yet because he doesn't have that BKB. Maybe now he's just going to go in, put his body out there, try and act as inconspicuous as possible, and they've taken the bait.
Is coming from the other side. We're gonna be finding a Ricky with the onslaught, so many stuns, and just when you have this many spells to play with, it's impossible to get out once you get caught.
But that just felt like much more of a, you know, team-oriented play. That seems like they're far more on the same page, and you can even just have a look at Mobe's items, realizing that, you know what, I'm not having quite as good game as my Primal Beast. He's had himself a really good start. I'm just going to go for the front line and the survivability. You can be the one to do the damage on the Primal and the Deucer, to be honest, right? Essence Ring as well being chosen up by him, and even just going the mystical enchantment or the magic resist.
Yeah, I feel like for a Slardar, you just want a blink, BKB, shard, and you've done your job. That's how it goes. You're going to be elevating the damage of the Medusa by a lot, really.
For sure. I mean, you occasionally see the an Echo Saber every now and then if it's like more of a solo play. Not able to get the kill off there on going either ways, just really looking to make use out of that shield rune with Niku. One of the best heroes in the Tiny to be able to grab it. It's just so hard to be able to burst through that much.
Ricky does have a shard, right? So that does change things a lot. Minus armor, but of course not being able to get forced out of your out of the smoke screen. That's gonna be a problem. About being forced away.
Oh no!
Oh, Rolling Thunder, he made a mistake. Still gets up to the high ground, and Desire should be taken out. Mobe, Slytherin crush available, but he needs to run away. There it is, the sprint now. Gonna be a blink away just in time. Mobe, he knows what's up. There is a Warlock in the vicinity, so a Golem drop there to cover for him was available, but not needed.
Oh, split second differences there. Almost didn't get away, and a little bit of a mistake there by PMA. Just getting the angle for the Rolling Thunder slightly off the mark. He's also going for a Lotus Orb, which this makes a lot more sense than the Lincolns that we were talking about. Of course, the Pulverize still a very relevant thing to have to worry about, but just to be able to, you know, use a Lotus for Fatal Bonds, to be able to use it for the Corrosive Haze.
Niku found, pulverized into the ground. The BKB of Zibe now coming in handy, and once they do mark him, the damage output should be more than enough. You just do not have the armor necessary to survive. That Zayas has been found. Fissure on him. Worgen's Grasp was off the mark, but you only need one of those spells to connect.
Yeah, nicely done by Desire, on point with a lot of these stuns coming through. I love that he plays very aggressively around the rest of his team. You know, he's got his items. You don't need to sit back and wait, and he's going into that 4-staff of his own, really realizing that, you know, everyone's pretty much going to need one of these for themselves, because I ain't saving you from a Ricky that dives in too deep.
That does open up a potential for Roche with the Corrosive Haze. Any lineup is made into a Roche lineup, and I'm looking at Navi Jr. and their potential to defend this. With the Rolling Thunder, they might be able to. They just need to get there in time.
Yeah, they would have seen Desire walking down towards the pit, so they've got a sense that it's going on, but I'm sure AVULUS are thinking along the same lines in that, you know what, Tiny just respawned a couple of seconds ago, probably don't have time to be able to contest this one properly.
And that's the Medusa timing, right? In the previous game, he went for a bit of a different build, but this is pretty much when Medusas just start mowing down your outer towers. You have a Butterfly, you have a Manta, and Aegis already on top of that, so Smiling Knight is pretty much going to be unstoppable for the time being.
Really seems to me like Zayats is going for like a support killer build, right? Like enough tankiness to be able to survive on the backlines with that Essence Ring and the Brawny enchantment, but also, you know, some value items. Orb of Corrosion now uses the Band of Elven Skin to be able to just buff up the Agi a decent amount. He's got Power Treads coming out very shortly. He's got a Wraith Band. Feels pretty good at just being able to find like a quick pick-off or at least force a panicked reaction out of Seneko.
The problem is no diffusal. See if he can maybe do it. I always look at the Riki as like this disruptive force. Go into the backlines, give vision, show where the enemies are at. I'm not sure though. It feels like they kill him way too fast in this one. Yep, gonna do it again. Poor guy.
Back off on PMA. Nah, he's playing a Riki. Screw him.
That's how you look at it. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense though. I feel like Riki is not as hated in the community because really hasn't been that carry nuisance that Murder supports for years basically.
And they gave Sentry Wards that nice little buff as well to their radius, so he's a little less annoying to have to deal with.
And the dust now lingers, right? So quite annoying as well for any of his heroes, but they still get picked up. Bounty Hunter Riki still very well established in the meta as supports, of course. Got the juice. He's gonna be going for the Butterfly of his own. This Morphling is farmed, but I can't shake the feeling that he's gonna be needing a lot more, and that this gold lead of Avulus feels very hard to catch up to.
I mean, the big thing that I'm really looking at is the impact coming through from Riddies. I mean, he was close to my MVP in game number 1 of this series, and honestly haven't felt the impact of his Crystal Maiden at all this game so far.
And will we?
0-5 and 2. Probably not. I mean, he's going to need to... I don't hate the purchase of the Parvis, just physical damage against this this Avulus lineup feels pretty damn good. And of course, once it eventually becomes a Solar Crest, it's going to be great amp damage for the Morphling. I'm honestly a little bit more surprised that there hasn't been more emphasis put onto this Torment that's just respawned now on the bottom side of the map. I mean, they've got vision on Ridis to know that it is available and it is up, but are you not wanting just a free shard for your Pango, for your Tiny? Feels like mega value.
Maybe that was the idea. Try to catch your opponents there rather than get it yourself. We'll see. Well, with God the Juice DPing away, that might not be happening.
But Avulus are pretty... what's the word? Disciplined with their sentry warding of every single time that they use, that they're going for the Torment. They're not wanting to get caught out with their pants down, so I doubt we're going to get that like surprise jump coming through.
I think they got a gem now as well. Yeah, it is on the Warlock, so it's even more unlikely. But you know, when you are, I don't know, you're 9k gold behind, you have to think about different ways to get yourself back in it.
Yeah, I mean, they know that this Torment is going on, but there we go. The gem is used, they get rid of that. They very, very quickly take it down off the back of the Slardar Corrosive Haze, plus the huge amount of damage that Smiling Knight has. Haven't even mentioned the Skadi that he just picked up as well, so can't think of too many better spells against a Morphling. Speaking of Morph...
Lincoln's broken with the Corrosive Haze, smashed into the ground. They still had the Corrosive Haze on Desire from afar. Finishes him off with the Fissure. The Morphling has been farming for 25 minutes just to die in 1 second. Desire is not done. He's force-staffing forward to catch Zayats, and there's the Blink. Gonna be slowing him down as much as possible. Once the Corrosive Haze connects, that is when you are very likely to get this kill, but Zayats doesn't want to die that easily, and with the tricks of the trade onto the high ground he goes and actually lives through it all.
And that was like a 0.01 second slightly late Fisher coming out from Desire, and Zayat's skilled enough to be able to get back, and he's building into a nullifier for himself. Okay, I mean, Solar Crest, sure. I don't really see any other core stuffs. I guess Ghost Scepter on the Warlock is the thing that they really just want to take out this pesky Seneko, but the difference is they don't have a Night Stalker with Ion Shell to be able to dive the backlines this time around.
The next wave is coming. They're not using the glyph here, so not really gonna be dealing with the creep waves at all. AVULUS get themselves a tier 3, pull back, and that is a very nice usage of the first Aegis.
Oh, absolutely. You know, if you can invade high ground with first Aegis, that's a massive win across the board. And I'm always just looking for, like, what is the thing that's going to bring them back into this game on Navi Jr., because they don't have much on their Riki. They don't have much on their Crystal Maiden. Still holding on to 1,300 gold on Ridis, but I feel like that could be better spent actually, you know, trying to get some aggressive potential, some usage out of that. He can afford the Parvis if he wanted to, but does he care about buyback that much? With Aegis expiring, I wouldn't have thought so.
Well, AVULUS, they care about pushing this lead even further. They're in such a good position in this game, and they are definitely longing for revenge after being demolished in that game 1. Game 2, of course, they already exercised it, but winning this one would get them one step closer to making it to the Dream League season 26.
Mm-hmm. Would you like any spoilers of the other series and knowing which team they would be facing?
Of course.
All right, well, cover your ears if you don't want to know. This was the series between Capybaras and Secret, which was a 2-1 in favor of Secret. So Secret are sitting there in the lower bracket final, waiting the winner of this game. And, I mean, you talk about those early Dream Leagues. Secret was a mainstay of those.
Pretty much. My boy Mixa making it through. We are finally getting some big representatives from my country, and we'll see if they're gonna be winning in the next batch. Neither AVULUS nor NAVI Jr. are gonna be an easy opponent.
You know what? I'm gonna claim KP's assistant coaching role as a TI win for Australia. That's 3 that we've got now.
Easy. That's how it goes. We have two wins because Spirit is a Serbian team. So.
Yep. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, we're both from very successful Dota countries, and that is very nice to see. Either way, though, the game does continue. What is kind of the way that Navi Jr. has to play this? Is this really just a situation of we are gonna protect high ground with a tiny toss back? Has it gone that far?
I mean, maybe, or it might just be once again looking to set up for that perfect fight inside the Roche pit. You know, get a smoke and initiate with that Rolling Thunder, but Rolling Thunder was just used, and PMA is dead as a doornail.
Yeah, his TP while he was rolling got cancelled by a golem. I was like, what's happening? Why is a golem being used in the base? But no, Seneko hasn't lost his mind. That is a very nice spell to use. So no Pango for quite some time. You can shove in the waves. We'll see if maybe they're gonna try to poke at the high ground, maybe secure the range axes.
What do you reckon about what Got the Juice is doing? Like, he's kind of in, I don't want to even say 2 minds. Like, he's bought 2 components, the 2 more expensive components of his butterfly, and then he's gone back and bought a disperser instead. So he's delaying other stuff just to be able to have something happening against this Medusa. Like, she just feels too big of an issue, I suppose. But can you even take this fight? What is that TP?
Oh, the creeps
the
respond in the worst possible situation. He did use the Manta in a good timing anyway, so maybe it wouldn't have mattered, but definitely the wrong time to jump in. And now, no Tiny, no Rolling Thunder. How do you defend?
You don't. You're getting run at.
Well, they're doing their best, but this is like prime Medusa gaming. 30 minutes into the game, you have all of your items, and they can't do anything about it.
I just feel like they waited that little bit too long. Poor CM is just forced to sit on the back lines. The second you step forward, you're just getting 2 hit. All he's got queued up in the old quick buy is just wards. You're not going to get too much more than a Solar Crest this game.
I feel like if you look at any of their items, you can just say you're not gonna get more than whatever they have, because it does look like this game is very close to its end.
I mean, can they even... Is there any... Got the juice? Okay.
It will be going for the Ricky. He doesn't have a buyback,
Buyback.
so that is a perfect one to get rid of. 70 seconds on the sidelines.
Two
The
hit.
question is, will he get a chance even to play this game any longer, to play the series or to play this qualifier? Because looks quite grim.
Certainly not the way that you want your last pick to be showing up. I mean, this is going to be the final attempt, I feel, that they're looking to try and make. Niku waiting on the sidelines, trying to find a quick pick off onto someone, but you got to do something now. You're going to get megged.
Now or never. Can you play versus Mega Creeps? If you don't want to do it, we're just gonna kill you all. BKB from Obe from afar. The Shaker is just gonna be using that Fissure. Niku has used this BKB and they're gonna wait for it to expire as AVULUS. They secured themselves a Mega Creep. Zibe is gonna get tossed back. He doesn't really mind being here. Lotus Orb to protect the Tiny from nothing, and Fissure from afar. He's gonna have the Echo in a second!
Woo!
And just getting it in a perfect moment. They still don't destroy them. Rolling Thunder being used. God the Juice is somehow alive. We'll get the waveform onto the high ground there, but in
Pulverized.
the end, you have to call GG. It is over for Navi Jr., Danog, and AVULUS are going to be the team that faces off against you.
What a turnaround in form from both the first series of this